I welcome you all for the discussion on vector spaces, the last unit of your open elective course. So in this unit we are going to discuss about vector spaces, subspaces, linear dependence and independence, and the concepts related to linear transformation. Those are the concepts we are going to discuss under this unit. So before going to what do you mean by vector space, we need to discuss many basic things which are most necessary to understand the concept of vector space. So first I would like to start with set. What do you mean by a set? And I hope you have already studied this concept, set, especially students from CS and IS, they have studied discrete mathematics. There the concept of set is discussed. So set is basically a collection of objects which has some common relationship. So if I take this set A equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So this is a collection of natural numbers or whole numbers. So this forms a set because this set has some order, or the objects in that set have some common relationship, so that forms a set. If we take B equal to 1, 3, 5, 7, 11 and so on, you can check that it is not a collection of odd numbers because 9 is missing, but all the entries in this set or in this collection, there is a common relationship. What is that? So 1, 3, 5, 7 and all represents prime numbers. Prime numbers means those are the integers which are divisible by 1 and itself only. There are no other divisors except 1 and itself. Such numbers are called prime numbers. That you have studied in our previous open elective course if you have studied. Otherwise understand from this one. See, we say that a number P is prime if Q divides P, or okay, let us say it once, if it is divisible by 1 and itself only. Except these two numbers, except 1 and P, there are no other divisors, then such number is called prime number. If it has any other divisor, if Q divides P such that this symbol stands for such that Q is not equal to 1 or P, then such numbers which has divisor that is different from 1 and itself, such numbers are called composite numbers. So given any set of integers, that can be classified into two. One is set of prime numbers and another one is set of composite numbers. So 9 is a composite number as it is divided by 3. Now this forms a set. This forms a set. Suppose you take, okay, this is a set and this is a set. Suppose you take C equal to 1 at A ampersand so this contains numerals, alphabet, symbols, etc. So you cannot find exact relationship between these two. Okay, let us write one more entry. Man, a word added. there is no exact relationship between the objects of this collection. So this is just a collection, not a set. It is just a collection but not a set. When a collection becomes set, if there is an exact relationship between the objects of that collection, then only it becomes a set. Take one more example, D. So let us think of it, whether this form a set or not. So I'll take entries to be your mask. You are all aware of this. Sanitizer, stay home, quarantine, etc. Now the question is, does it form a set? Yes, this is a set of terms used in corona pandemic. This is a set of terms used in pandemic situation or corona pandemic more specifically. So definitely this forms a set. And our favorite, marker, digital board, that's what we are using right now. Digital pen, DigiPen, right, etc. This will be a set of what things used for online class. So writing needs or teaching needs of for online classes. So definitely this forms a set. So if you look into the exact definition of a set is a collection of so basically it's a collection homogeneous objects. Homogeneous in the sense they must be like same, they must have same relationship. So in that sense we use that word. The collection of all objects which have same relation or some quality that is satisfied by all the objects in that set, then it will be a set. Otherwise it will be just a collection. Collection may be anything. It is not necessary to have any relationship between those entries. You can have any members in that set. So that is just a collection. If there is a particular relation that is common to all objects in that collection, then it will be a set. So this is about the definition of set. And next important thing is function. Functions or function, we use plural form always. So what do you mean by a function? Suppose you have two sets. And are called A and B. You have objects here and also have objects here. It is possible to form a relation from this set to this such that this maps to this or related to this, and this will become related to this, and this will become related to this, and this one will become related to this. It is sometimes possible. We are not saying always. So given any two sets, we can find a relation between those two sets such that the objects from one set can be related to objects in the other set. So what is a relation? That is still a basic term. I think in discrete mathematics some of you have studied it. I'm not starting from relation, I'll just start from functions. Now any such relation between two sets A to B such that every member of A is mapped down to a unique member of B is called a function. So that is the relation, the difference between relation and function. So if a relation from A to B is called a function, if it relates ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ more specific word maps ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು. Map ಅಥವಾ maps, relates or maps. This is important. Every element of or every member of A to a unique member of B. See, if you write f here, now f is not a function on A. Why? Because this object is not mapped to any other object. So you have to remove this object, then f will be a function. And no two objects should map to same entry. For example, here I have this entry. If I remove this from A, so no problem with A, it forms a function. But the second situation where f fails to be a function is, suppose this also mapped to same entry like this, then it will not be a function. So every element of that set, okay, sorry, not like that. If same object is mapped onto two things, then it is not a function. Sorry. So what definition says, every member of A should be mapped to unique member of B. That means if you take any one member in A, that should have only one member in B. It should not have two members in B. For example, we take this f of x equal to x square. Two members of A can be mapped to single member of B, no problem. See, if you take this set, -1, 0, 1, 2, and here you can take -2, then this maps -1 to 1 and also +1 to 1. So two entries of A are mapped to single entry of B. So this is acceptable. The thing is, -1 is mapped to 1. That's all. -1 member of A is mapped to unique member of B, and 1 member of A is mapped to unique member of B. Whether this f of -1 equal to f of 1, that is not a problem. Then what is unacceptable situation? That situation is, I'll take this one more example. I'll write here. You have again two sets, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on, and again the same set I'll consider, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 again. Okay, 0 in the bada. I'll take -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2 and so on. Now let us take f of x to be root x. Now take f of x to be root x. What is the image of 2? Sorry, 4 I'll take, 2 will baralla, rational number it is. What is the image of 4? That is root 4. Root 4 is plus or minus 2. So 2 under this mapping will be mapped to, not 2, 4 is mapped to -2, and also it is mapped to +2. So same element is going to map to -2 and +2. So it is getting two images. This is not acceptable. Only a single member of A cannot be mapped to two members, but n numbers of A can be mapped to single number. You take the map. See, instead of, suppose you take f of x equal to 1 for all x, then what will be the image? -2 will be mapped to 1, -1 also mapped to 1, 0 also mapped to 1, 1 mapped to 1, 2 is mapped to 1. If you take any member of A, that will be mapped to only 1. This is acceptable. Any number of entries may be mapped to single member. That is acceptable. But a single member of A should not be mapped to more than one element of B. That is why we use this word unique. And while doing such mapping, you are not allowed to leave any member of set A. You should map every member of A, but you can leave members of B. Even if you don't get image, then no problem. See this set. You can map 0, 1, 2. Every member of this set should have image. But here some member of B, if we don't have pre-image, no problem. So that is the importance of these two words. Every of A should have unique image in B. So this is about definition. So any mapping or any relation, basically it is a relation, we must say. Any relation which maps every element of A to a unique element of B is called a function. Then see, if you write, suppose this is A and this is B, then what is happening there? A is mapped to, okay, I'll write this. A is mapped to B under F, right? If you look into this situation, A is mapped to B under F. This we mathematically write as f of A equal to B. F of A equal to B. So B is called image of A. B is called image of A. You can imagine this F as a function. Mirror. You can imagine that as a mirror. Mirror kept between these two sets. Now image of A is B. So B is called image of A. And what is A? A is pre-image of B. A is a pre-image of B. This is about image and pre-image. Next, the set of all elements from which F is carrying elements is called domain. A is called domain. So F carries members of this set. Set of all entries or members to which F maps onto, that will be called as codomain. So here B will be codomain. So F maps entries to this set B. So this is called codomain and A is called domain. Okay. So this is about function and set. So there are many words which are used for function as synonym. So we call function or mapping, transformation, all are same. Transformation. Still there are some books where they use word correspondence. So these are all synonyms for functions. So this is about set and function. And then when we study this set, this actually the out of syllabus, just I will explain for your knowledge. When we study set, then obviously we study function, then we'll study set with function. That is denoted by star, not F. A study, I mean we are supposed to study set along with a function. So ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಬರೀ ಸೆಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಓದ್ತೀವಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಓದಿದ್ವಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಸೆಟ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ತಗೋತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಪರೇಷನ್. Operation, but basically it is a function. Okay, that set, I mean that structure is called as group. That structure is called as group. Means it is not a group, actually it is a collection of a set and an operation. It has to satisfy some set of conditions. If it satisfies those conditions, then that structure is called as group. So there will be 3 conditions it has to satisfy, totally 4 conditions: closure, associative, identity and inverse. If it satisfies that 4 conditions, then it will be called as group. Then we will study a set along with 2 operations. A set along with 2 operations or 2 functions, and this is called ring. That algebraic structure is called as ring. Again it has to satisfy set of conditions. There will be I think 8 conditions, 6 or 8 conditions. That has to satisfy those conditions. If that satisfies those conditions, then the structure is called as ring. So only standard books use these operations symbols, star and dot, but usually if you find any local book, they use these operations, plus and multiplication, dot. So ring is the next version of group. The next version of this is field. Okay. Again it is a set along with 2 operations, but the thing is set of conditions it has to satisfy will be more. Field. Then we will be having set, operation, 2 operations on a field. So 2 sets and 2 operations, and this is called vector space. So the thing is with the introduction to set and functions, we are directly moving to vector space. So what is going to happen here is we are going to study only the applied vector space, problems related to the concepts in vector space. We are not going to study purely the theoretic part of vector space. So since we are studying the problematic part, you can easily study. There is no difficulty in that. If you are supposed to study the theoretic aspects of vector space, then you might need these concepts: group, ring, field, etc. But now since we are considering only the problematic part, so the concepts of group, ring, field, that's are not necessary. You can directly study vector space without any problems. Okay, this is about the algebraic structure. This is called abstract algebra. One of the biggest branch in pure mathematics. So mathematics is divided into two parts. One is pure mathematics and applied mathematics. Whatever the engineering students is going to study is applied mathematics. So pure mathematics, it involves more theoretical part, and only few problems will be solved there. And this all groups, rings, fields, everything comes under abstract algebra. In fact, under rings there are many substructures: principal domain, unique factorization domain, Euclidean domain. There are many such substructures. And one more thing I have to say: when we study one algebraic structure, we always study its substructure. If this is group, then we study its substructure, and this is called group, and obviously this is called substructure, right? This is called subgroup. That is called subgroup. Wherever I go, when you find the details on groups, definitely you find details on subgroup also. And when we study rings, we study its substructure. It is not called as subring, but it is called as ideal. So even if you can find this subring, but for what application part, ideal is more informative, or you can say ideal is more important for this study. Subring is not that much important compared to ideal. Again, in subgroup, here you get abelian group. Abelian group. Anyway, you keep this like this: group, subgroup, ring, subring, field. There we don't use subfield usually, but that is there. But the name is different: subfield, vector space, and subspace. And we are going to discuss this later. Subspace. So that's what the algebraic structure, flow of algebraic structures goes on. So this is just for your knowledge. It is not included in your syllabus, and not important for any test or examination. Now let us come to our discussion. Now we have a set A, that is say the collection of A, B, C, D, and so on. Now product of sets. How to define product of sets? By definition, I will define A square, I mean product of A with itself, denoted by A cross A. By definition, it will be the collection of all pair of elements of A. So set of all A comma B such that A belongs to, A comma B belongs to A. So how this set looks like: A cross A will be, see, A comma A comma B, A comma C, A comma D, and so on. Similarly, B comma A, B comma B, B comma C, B comma D, and so on. So and so on. You can keep writing: C comma A, C comma B, C comma C, and so on. So that is called product of A with itself, product set. Similarly, you may define A cube, the product of A with itself 3 times, A cube. How it may be defined? It is the collection of all 3 tuples or triplets, we say. A cube, that is denoted by, see, this is A square, that is denoted by A cross A cross A. That is the collection of all elements of the form A comma B comma C, where A, B, C are coming from the set A. See, earlier we have studied, if you recall your school life, we started our study with number line. 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on, right? And this one -1, -2 and so on. So this is called number line. Then what we did, then we considered the number line, we considered the product of number line with itself, that is a square. How this a square looks like? That is plain. How the entries looks like here? 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0 and so on, 3, 0. Somewhere here you get 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1. Somewhere here you may get 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 1. And so on. So this is what we got by product of number line with itself. So same thing is going to happen here. A square, a cube. Similarly, you may define a power n, product of a set with itself n times a power n. How the entries of this set looks like? A1, A2, A3 and so on, An, where A1, A2, An are all coming from A. Okay, so this is called product of A with itself. More specifically, we call this as Cartesian product of A with itself. Cartesian product of A with itself. So this is about product of sets. Next, we will define product of sets, operation on products of set, or can say function on product of sets. Let F be a mapping from A cross A to A. It looks like defined by f of A comma B equal to some operation between them, A star B. What is this star? It is an operation, and in fact f itself is called as an operation. What operation is this? See, it is defined on two elements, A and B. It is an operation or a function. Okay, don't use the word operation if it confuses you. It is a function defined on two entries. Such functions are called binary functions, or more oftenly as binary operation. What are such examples? You can define f from example I am taking. F from R, the set of all real numbers, cross R to R, defined by f of A comma B equal to A plus B. Right? Definitely it is a binary operation. See, the image of 2, 3 will be, this is the product set. Somewhere you will be having 2 here, you will be having 3 somewhere here. So this is the element 2, 3, and this is the set, number line. This is the number line. So you are having mapping between these two from R cross R to R. So this element 2, 3 is mapped down to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. mapped onto this entry 5. So f of 2 comma 3 is equal to 2 plus 3 equal to 5. So the entry or the element 2 comma 3 of R square is mapped onto 5. Then f of 1 comma 2, 1 comma 2 will be somewhere here, right? 1 comma 2, it will be somewhere here. That f of 1 comma 2 is mapped onto 3. So this is mapped onto 3 here. So f is a function, definitely it is a function on A cross A or R cross R, sorry, R cross R to R, and this function is applied on two entries or two tuples, or you can say pair of members, and such operations or such functions are called binary operations. Throughout our discussion we are going to use binary operations only. We are not going for higher product of higher orders. We are restricted ourselves to R square. The most important two binary operations are plus and dot, because these two are well-defined objects, I mean well-defined operations. Minus is also a binary operation and division is also binary operation, but these two are not well defined. They have some restrictions. If you consider any set R or Z or N, set of natural numbers, this works better, these two. Whatever they said, these two operations works well, but these negative and division operations, these have some limitations. They don't work well with a set of natural numbers or a set of integers. Set of integers this won't work, set of natural numbers this won't work. So we restrict ourselves to plus and dot because they are very good with any set. Okay, this is about product of operations, product of sets and binary operation defined on that set. Then we need to discuss about definition of vector space and subspace. I hope that we can discuss in our next class. So I'll just recall whatever the thing we discussed in this class. See, we started with a set which is a collection of homogeneous objects. That means we must have a common relationship between those entries. Such collection is called a set. So we started with set, then discussed about functions, the domain and codomains, and pre-image and image of members of domain and codomains, then product of sets. All these concepts we discussed today. So next class we are going to discuss about the definition of vector space. So what do you mean by vector space, and what are the set of operations that has to satisfy? So in that sense, one most important property of operations is closure property. Usually we say that as closure law, and this is also called as law of well-defined. So what this law does is, this actually verifies whether the given operation is well defined or not. How this law is defined is, if A and B are members of A, then A star B must be members of A. This is what closure law says. If the set A is with two operations, to say that closure law holds on A, we have to have these two. A comma B belongs to A implies you must have A plus B belongs to A and A dot B belongs to A. If these two holds, then we say that closure law holds on A and closure law property holds good. If you take plus and dot, that's what I mentioned here, these two satisfies closure law, but this minus and division symbol fails to satisfy closure law. In case of, suppose I take A equal to Z, then A comma B belongs to Z need not imply that A by B belongs to Z. A comma B belongs to Z need not imply A by B belongs to Z. So closure law is not true for set of integers with respect to division. And if you take A to B set of natural numbers, then A comma B belongs to Z need not imply that A minus B belongs to not Z N need not imply that A minus B belongs to N. So these two operations fails to satisfy closure law. Hence we are not supposed to use those operations. So this is the primary condition you have to check. For any algebraic structure, group, ring or field, vector space, first thing is checking of closure law, whether closure law holds good or not. If it holds good, then okay, done. Then we will go for associative. Associative, you are maybe familiar, you might have studied in our PU course. So if you take operation to be A star of B star C must be equal to A star B star C. So if you apply function or operation on B and C, then A, it is equivalent to apply the operation on A and B and then C. This is called associative law. The remaining are identity and inverse, that we can discuss in our next class. So, but you must have this knowledge to start with the second class. Closure law, the idea of closure law and associative, you must know that. That will make our work easy to explain the definition of vector space. So with this we shall wind up the class on vector space. Next let us discuss the definition of vector space and subspace. Thank you.